let me alone with those clowns for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Ah!
Wolverine! No, but we have to approach this delicately.
Delicately? I'll say. I was minding my own business when that filthy mutant bumped into me. Excuse me, he says. I excused him, right in his face.
I like your style, Mr. Logan.
Right.
Sci-fi fans, we're at Farpoint 2024, and we're hanging out with Mr. Cal Dodd, a prolific voice actor as well as a versatile singer and recording artist. Mr. Dodd's recent work can be seen and heard with the very popular Paw Patrol. X-Men fans know and love him for voicing Wolverine. Mr. Dodd, welcome and thank you for taking time to talk to us from Sci-Fi Diner podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's great to meet you, sir. So one thing that's very evident in all the projects and work you've done is that you are very versatile in your voice talents, from Wolverine to Danko Dorkovic. Can you tell us when you saw that you had a real talent for not just singing, but voice acting?
I wouldn't describe it as voice acting. I describe it as that when I was a child, I just loved impersonating people. And it made my dad laugh, so that made me feel like, oh, finally he likes something I do. Because all we did was sing. I mean, not all we did, but the whole family were singers from the age of 5. We came over from Ireland, and we toured as a family singing. So, but this was a different thing, doing voices, and I would do a great impersonation of Jerry Lewis and try and do John Wayne. And those kind of things, kind of voices, whatever, and it made my dad laugh. So, and I kept, and cartoon characters like, that's all, those, whatever, just imitating.
That's awesome.
And Popeye, cartoons and stuff. They, wow, blow me down, and just doing voices. But I never had the chance to use them because all I was doing was singing jingles and commercials, from Voss to beer, cornflakes. 2 scoops of raisins in a package of Kellogg's Raisin Bran, and they're great, which I ended up doing for a while. But everything was singing, and great, and I loved that because that's all I was great at singing. And this came out of nowhere, the X-Men thing. They remembered me from a commercial I did for Chrysler when there was like 5 of us singing, and they said, it's like a staff, drill sergeant marching with this, their soldiers. And he's like, who's got all the 4x4s? Chrysler, David Ants, Chrysler's got the 4x4s. Chrysler, round up, sound up. And they said, who can do the sergeant voice? And someone said, oh, Cal probably. So I did it. And the person that's casting for X-Men, a year and a half later, Karen Gora, remembered that voice and said, which she was asking for Wolverine, to audition for Wolverine, said, Cal, would you be interested? I know you've never done this stuff before. I'm doing an animated series character. And I said, what? Like, I'd love to do something like an animated cartoon. Yeah, everyone wants to do a cartoon.
Right, of course.
And well, who's it? What's it for? She said, well, I can't tell you. It's a secret audition, and it's called Audition X. X.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, great. So we went through that. And I went to the audition, and the rest is history.
Did you have any idea at all that the X stood for X-Men?
No, hell no. I didn't know who the X-Men were. Well, we walked in, who are the X-Men? And we're all Canadians. The voices are all Canadian.
Right.
And we're in Toronto, and these people flew in from LA and New York, the writers and producers. And that's a funny story about the audition was they gave me a line. I said, well, they showed me this picture. And, they said he's 5'3", tough as nails, will defend his friends to the death if necessary, and he's cranky. I said, oh, great, cranky. And, so I said, well, who do you hear him sounding like? And they said, Clint Eastwood, of course, was the first name. I went, okay. Go ahead. I did that part of it. Yeah. I needed to get gravel in it. So they mentioned Steve McQueen as well, and I love that reference later on when I got to know him, Wolverine, because he was short, Steve McQueen, and was always very quiet, didn't say much, kept his feelings inside like Wolverine does. And Ward Bond, which I didn't understand, and then I came up with Wolfman Jack from, remember, a Midnight Special, Wolfman Jack, baby, coming at you. Was that disc jockey? Famous disc jockey?
I remember. Oh, yeah, Wolfman Jack, yeah.
That was the last thing I did before I read the first line. And this is funny because they said I said, so who's this? I said, wait a minute. So I'm Wolverine. He said, that's who I'm auditioning. He said, yeah. He said, and this line that I'm going to read is, who's that addressed to? and because he's got to be yelling and vicious. And Clint Eastwood never yells. I've never heard him yell in a movie. He's always contained, like, go ahead, like punk.
Yeah.
So they said, well, he's yelling at his mortal enemy, Sabretooth. And I said, in all seriousness, Sabretooth. And I'm Wolverine. Is this an animal cartoon?
Yeah.
Seriously, I said, is this
Right.
an animal cartoon? Are we like animals? He said, they laughed like you did. And then they said, no. I said, well, why the names? He said, they're mutants. As if I'm supposed to get that. He said, oh, that clears everything up. What the hell is a mutant? I said, they explained that, and I went, oh, gee. Okay. So they said, okay, are you ready to read the line? I said, oh, sure. And this is the first line I read. And I'll never forget it. All right, you egg-sucking piece of gutter trash. You always did like shoving around people shorter than you. Well, I'm shorter. Try shoving me. Ow! Well, their jaws all dropped, hit the table. It was like, holy crap. Give him more lines. So I read for the next 10 minutes, different lines, including the one that from the Definite Steel, one of our episodes, when Wolverine busts through the door at the Hellfire Club with both these claws on, and has seen the lines directly from Clint Eastwood's mouth. We got away with using in the series. Excuse me for this.
No, it's
and
fine.
the line was, he's looking at the guy who's got a gun pointed right at him, and Wolverine walks very slowly towards him and says, all right, you egg-sucking piece of gutter trash. You always did like shoving around. No, I just did it. Oh, I got it. Sorry, wrong scene.
All right.
So he busts through the door and looks at the guy, walks very slowly towards him and says, I know what you're thinking, punk. Question is, can I get Wolverine before he turns me into shish kebab with those claws? Well, Bob, seeing as how these claws are adamantium, the strongest metal known, and can slice through vanadium steel like a hot knife through butter, buddy, you gotta ask yourself, do I feel lucky?
And that was awesome.
And they just went, get out of here. Get out now. I said, okay, and they phoned me the next morning.
That's awesome.
And it was just, would you like to be our Wolverine? I said, let me just check my calendar. Yes. 5 beautiful years, wonderful years with that.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Let's talk about your singing career. You have a CD out. I was listening to some of your music on your website. Do you have a CD out that fans can get their hands on?
That they can get their hands on?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think they can get it.
Okay.
They can get it through me, through caldodd.com.
Okay. I was listening to some of your music, and
It's big band stuff.
Yeah.
As I sing, that's not indicative of where I sit, but because I love all kinds of music, but I do love a lot of the songs of that CD.
Mm-hmm.
Like I cover, what's her name? That last, what's her name? Beautiful. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Anyway,
James?
it'll come to, huh?
Etta James?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. At last, my love is coming on. That one. And I did it on the album. And
Okay.
Summertime, and it's like old songs that I liked, and then big band, Frank Sinatra kind of tunes and stuff.
Yeah.
But they wanted me to. These guys are the best musicians on the planet. Like they were just, and I've worked with them for 30 years. And I said, come on, you got to do a CD of this kind of music.
Yeah.
We'd love to play with you. Guido Basso, and it's just stupid to play her. Doug Riley, and so that's like 10 years ago now.
But they can get that on your website.
Yes, they can. So,
listeners, check out Mr. Dodd's music. It's incredible. I
thank
enjoy
you.
listening. I want to get a CD for myself.
yeah, and I'm on Facebook, and since COVID started, about March 20th it started. Like we were all told, okay, this is a pandemic. March 20th. So I was originally singing to a goose up in the garage next door, who laid her Canada goose that laid her eggs. And I started singing to her and like feeding her because, they don't move out of the nest for a month. And the male shows up about once a week. Nice guy. And she hatches them and stuff. And then I have to call the wildlife control because they can't get down off this big roof, the little ones. It was great. And I named her, and I named the little one. I named her Gilda. And the first 2 little ones I named Gilligan and Gidget, the two little ones. Anyway, so, and it's sad. We would bring them back down the ravine, where I live on a ravine, down into the river down there. And sure enough, next year, back again, realized in the same place, oh, Gilda, you ever going to learn? But anyway, the folks were writing in, on Facebook and saying, I know you love Gilda and stuff, but can we see you when you're singing? I had great tracks. Since then, so I started doing that. I'm now at songs number 2020, I think, that I posted on Facebook with like rock and roll. I mean, I love rock and Billy Joel stuff. Yeah. And like my little brother Rory sang with Bonnie Tyler, "Total Eclipse of the Heart."
Yeah, I love that song.
Turn around, back, turn around, right. That stuff. Yeah, that's my little brother. And with Billy Joel, he sang on Uptown Girl with him. And James Taylor, he was the background singer. Him and Eric Troyer, and two guys that were like great singers. Yeah. So it's in the family.
It is the family.
Here last night, were you?
I stopped in last night, yeah.
Okay, but they had a karaoke thing in there. Right?
Oh, yeah?
Did you do it?
Oh, yeah. And I did Billy Joel's New York State of Mind.
Okay, good.
Some folks like to get away, take a holiday from the neighborhood. Right fleet to Miami Beach or to Hollywood. I'm taking a Greyhound on the Hudson River line, because I'm in a New York state of mind. It was
awesome.
fucking great. They shit themselves. Oh, no, they went, what the fuck? We got a real singer. Wolverine? Wolverine? Stop it.
It's like watching Hugh Jackman in American Showman. You're like, Wolverine?
No, I know. I said when I first saw it, I said, stop. You stop dancing right now. Don't do that what you're doing. You can sing, that's fine. Stop dancing stuff.
Not fair.
Not fair. But it's fair. In fairness to him, like at the end of that, it's a one-man show. He was on tour with and stuff. And he would talk about the XMen for like 5 to 10 minutes because the fans wanted, the audience.
Right.
And always he would give a shout out to the original Wolverine, Cal Dodd. So, from like, don't mess this up. I said that to him.
Have you met him?
Great. Oh, didn't I tell you that?
No.
Well, that's a great story. You should have had that.
No, I'm still rolling.
Oh, okay. No, so when we met, he was in town in the year 2000 shooting the very first X-Men movie, and anyone's attempted playing Wolverine in real life. And so he was nervous as hell, of course.
Right.
He'd been training very hard to get in shape. And they called him, he was known as the ninja, because even the guys who were training him said, I've never seen anyone train like he trained. He said he just goes on 10 hours a day, like straight. Anyway, so he's there, and he was told by the producers and the directors of the movie, listen and study Cal Dodd's voice from the series. Because the only reference that folks had for Wolverine was my voice,
right,
from 92 to 97. And this is 3 years later. They're shooting the first movie. So they were there, and it's a wine and cheese party. And they said, we'd like the two Wolverines to meet. Hugh, this is Cal Dodd, our Wolverine. And she's looking at me like he could hardly wait to say something. And and Cal, this is Hugh Jackman, our very first Wolverine. He said, pleasure, great to meet you. And he said, pleasure to meet you, mate, but I'm sick and tired of listening to your voice. Sick and tired of listening to your voice. And I said, what? He said, yeah, I was told, listen, your voice, but I got enough to do with the voice and the fighting and Wolverine himself without, but I'm trying to get there. We talked for about 2 minutes, and he's just leaving. We said, okay, thanks, where you go? And he turned on, and I did Wolverine's voice. I said, hey, you. And he turned around. I said, yeah, mate. I said, don't mess this up. And he just went, get out of here.
So you're still busy voice acting. Can you tell us what's new on the horizon for you? Is there something new we can look forward to seeing or hearing you in soon? What will we be plugging for you? New projects?
Disney Plus. The Wolfman. The Wolverine starring Wolverine, the X-Men new series in hopefully March 24th.
That's fantastic.
That's when it was.
So that's
but I
coming
have
out.
nothing else other than that.
That's coming out in a month then about?
Yeah.
Oh,
March
that's awesome. That's awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Mr. Dodd, thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure speaking
You're
with you.
very, very welcome, Mel.
Thank you.
My pleasure.